everybody. I've been asked to make sure that everybody knows how to set up their grade books. So there'll be two parts to this. One is going to be in Schoology, and the other part is going to be in IC. And so here's what the grade book will end up looking like at the end of your setup here. You'll have standards, formative and summative for things. You'll have grading periods that look like that. Of course, this is last year. Yours will be 14-15 for this year. You'll have to choose the scale, and we're going to have to create this APSOL standards-based grading scale that appears over here. There are some default ones you could choose. We are going to choose this one so that it's going to look similar to our IC gradebook. So if we started over from scratch, I'm going to pretend like my counseling class here is a class. This is what it looks like at the beginning. So we're going to have to add our categories. We're going to have to make sure our weights are correct. You guys are going to have a 14-15 here instead of 13-14. And so you want to make those, you can weight whatever you want as long as it's all the same. So that one, if we were talking last year, it would look like that. It just needs to be 25% of the overall total. So you could weight these all 25s if you wanted to, for instance. And the scale, we only have 2 at the beginning, so we're going to have to create our standards-based grading scale. And so I think that is probably a good place to start. So let's go to add. We're going to add a scale. So we're going to add a scale, and then we come up with a, so let's go back to our scale here, and we'll see what it looks like at the end. So this is what it will look like when we're all done. So you can see that we're going to create categories for advanced, proficient, partial, and unsat. And these are the ranges that they'll be putting in. 93 to 95 and 83 to 85. And so that's what it's going to end up looking like. So let's go back to our other one and create. And so here's where it's going to get a little weird. We have to make this basically for every ADV we put into the gradebook, we need to give it a range of a score that it could be. I'm going to say 93 to 95. Really what this is saying is that every time you put an ADV in, it's going to give the student a 95. Same thing with proficient. We're going to do 83 to 85. And what that will do would be that every time you put it in a P, it's going to give the student 85%. Ideally, of course, we would have grades that aren't just percentages, that don't average, but we have to work with the system that we have, and so that's just kind of how it goes. And so for partially proficient, we're going to do so that when you give a partially proficient, it's going to end up being a 73. And then an unsat grade is going to be, we're going to go 0 to 59. We're going to click on only show letter grade. That way this stuff is happening in the background, and what the student sees is the same thing that is going to be in your grade book. So the student will see the ADV, the P, the PP, or the U. I'm going to hit save. And then you see over here we have the scale that it added. Now down here, we need to make sure that we choose that as the scale. Otherwise, we're going to be putting an ADV and it's not going to be coming up with the 95, for instance. Or we're going to put it in a proficient and it won't be an 85%. Does that make sense? I hope so. And then we need to add our categories. So in here is you're just going to make this look exactly like it does in your IC gradebook. So here's where we're going to put standard 1, whatever it is, formative or summative, whatever it is. And then instead of total points, we want percent here. And then I just always leave drop lowest as 0. And then we're just going to create all the categories will be your standards. So however many standards you have, you just keep adding to that category until you have them all filled out with whatever the standards are for this year. And so that is how to set up the standards-based gradebook in Schoology. So now the second part is going to IC and making IC reflective of what you've seen in Schoology. So when you have questions, let me know, and we can sit down together and I can help you set this up. Remember, we need to make sure this is SBG. Think about it. And so, that's how it would be if I was to create any assignments here in my counseling class there. So, let me know when you have questions, and I'll sit down with you and help you figure it out. All right. Thanks a lot.